Shalom Aleichem, good morning. Welcome to our viewers on Torah Anytime as well. I want to dedicate this year for the Refuah Shalema of Chaim Meir Dov Ben Yente, who needs tremendous Rachmei Shamayim, Malka Chana Bas Beila, and Miriam Bas Leah Besor Sh'ar Choylei Yisrael. We speak about Parshas Pinchas, and if we get to Mirtzeh Hashem, also in Yana de Yoima, the 3 weeks. We'll see how much time we have. So Pinchas does what he does, and Baruch Hashem, he gets the reward. Kehunas oilam, ve'aisa lo ulezahu acharav, bris kehunas oilam. The Halacha is Shulchan Aruch Chaim Siman Kuf Kaf Ches Seif Lamed Hey, Cohen that killed, not even intentionally, but even unintentionally, he did so b'shoigeg, he cannot go up and bless the people. Lo yisa eskapa. The source to this din is from the Gemara in Masechet Brachos, Daf Lamed Beis Amud Aleph. The Gemara darshans a pasuk from Yeshaya, when the Navi says, "Uve parischem kapeichem a'alim einai mikem." When you do this with your hands, I'm not going to look. Yadeichem damim aleu, because your hands are filled with blood. So you want to use these hands filled with blood to bless my nation? It doesn't work. Which means a Cohen that killed, he spilled blood with his hands. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not interested to bestow the bracha on Klal Yisrael through those hands. Machlokes Shulchan Aruch and the Rema, if one does tshuva, does it work? Shulchan Aruch says it doesn't work. Mezid or shoigeg, once a person spilled some blood, it's a technical thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want to bless the people through this person. The Rema says, if you don't allow this person to duchen again, you're locking the door on a Baal Tshuva. He's going to sit there in the back. Everybody knows he's a Kohen. He's going to feel bad. Everybody else, all his brothers, the Kohanim, go up there and bless Klal Yisrael, and he can't. You're closing the door on Baal Tshuva, and therefore the Rema says a Kohen who's a Baal Tshuva who killed is able to duchen. Great.
Israeli Kohen who killed the Arab in war.
So I think we spoke this about a few months ago. According to Chaim Palaji, it works. There is a machlokes, but a Kohen that killed a non-Jew in war. We'll see soon why it should work and he should be okay with it. We'll see in a second. The idea here that en katego nasa sanego, those hands that spilled the blood cannot become a sanego, which means for all the other avodos in Beis Hamikdash, it should work. Only to bless Klal Yisrael with those hands when you lift your hands, that doesn't work. But for other services that the Kohanim have to do in Beis Hamikdash, it should work. But the Tosfos Yontif comes in Bechoros, Perek Zayin, Mishnah Zayin, and writes that how much more so is Pasul Avoida. So Bekiva Eger is bothered, Mishnah Lamelech, and this is because of what I just said, because that is a Tosfos. And the Tosfos seems to say that the only problem that this guy has is to duchen, to raise his hands and to bless the people, not other things. So the root of this discussion is, what is the psul? What is the disqualification? Is it a disqualification on his hands, and therefore he can't say the bracha of Birkas Kohanim, or it's he is disqualified? And if he is disqualified, so he's disqualified from everything. And because of this, what happens with a Kohen who went into an accident? He was driving his car, and he didn't kill with his hands. He killed with his foot, pressed on the pedal. He pressed a little too much, too fast. He was going too fast. He didn't kill with his hands. Is it disqualification on the Kohen killed, or it's a technical thing, it's on the hand, and as long as the hand doesn't kill, the Kohen should be okay. So based on all this, we should ask, how did Pinchas become a Kohen? When did Pinchas become a Kohen? After what? After he killed Zimri, the Gemara says, oh, now you're a Kohen, but after you kill, you cannot become a Kohen. Or at least, you can duchen. Depends who we go with. We go with Tosfos, or we go with Tosfos Yontif. So the truth is that the Zoya already stands on this question, and Zoya says that really Pinchas was disqualified to become a Kohen. But what can you do? There's a pasuk against this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said you're going to be a Kohen, but if it wasn't for this pasuk, Pinchas technically cannot be a Kohen. Parshas Kisisa, Ma'aseh Egel. Moshe Rabbeinu says to the Levim, go and kill. Whoever participated, go and kill. And Rashi over there brings that after they did that, that became their coronation. Now you're good to be a Kohen. But a Kohen is pasul. For Nesias Kapayim, a Kohen is a Kohen. Cohen who killed is disqualified from doing this. So Lechoira, we should answer based on, again, Shulchan Aruch over there, all Chaim Siman Kuf Kaf Chet, Seif Lamed Vav, who says, a moyel that killed, a moyel circumcised the baby, was trying to do a mitzvah. But what can I do? An accident. Baby died. Shulchan Aruch says he can be a Kohen. He can be a Duchen. He can go Duchening. And the Mishnah Berurah explains, because after all, he was trying to be involved in a mitzvah. He was trying to do a mitzvah. He brings it from the Magen Avraham, and that would answer your question. This soldier went to war. He's doing a mitzvah. A tremendous mitzvah. And this is a milchemes mitzvah. It's not even a milchemes reshus. This is, according to all milchemes mitzvah, he's involved in a mitzvah, and he's not even killing a Jew. This is Moyel who killed a goy. He has killed, this Moyel killed a yid, a little baby, a Jewish baby. But this soldier killed a goy. According to this, no question, he should be okay. He should go up to Duchen. But the beautiful thing about this, with all these calculations, is that Pinchas did not have all these calculations. Pinchas didn't get up and say, wait a second, but if I do this, I don't think they'll call me up for again Aliyah. I won't be able to ducha. I won't be able to say, what are people going to say? He's a Kohen, what kind of Kohen is he? Pinchas was a true Karnai for Dvar Hashem. And Pinchas got up and said, what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want from me now? That is job number one. All the calculations fall by the wayside. And that's a great attribute of Pinchas, and that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu performed all those nisim. Targum Yonasan brings 12 different nisim that were performed for Pinchas. Yalkut Shimoni and Pinchas Remes Tafshin Ayin Aleph says that Pinchas is actually Eliyahu. And Rav Shimon Lakish says, Pinchas is Eliyahu. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you made peace between me and Klal Yisrael Ba'olam Hazeh, so too in the future, Le'asid Lavo, you will be the one making peace between me and my children, as the pasuk says, Ineh anochi sholech lachem es Eliyah hanovi, ve'heishiv levavo solbanim ve'lebanim alavo yisam. He will make peace once again. There is a sefer called the Shach, not on the Or Chaim, not on the Shulchan Aruch, Shach on the Torah. Sifsei Cohen, Reb Mordechai Cohen, from the disciples of the Arizal, which was about 450 years ago in Tzfat. And he explains why, you know, that Eliyahu Hanavi is the one who's supposed to figure out all the unresolved issues in Gemara. We normally finish a sugya by Teku. Teku stands for Tishbi Yetaretz, Kushas Vibayos. He will resolve the law. You know how many Tekus in Shas? 321 different Tekus in Shas. Eliyahu will resolve them. But what's this word Teku? Where'd you get this word from? So the Shach on the Torah says Teiko is from a language of a tik, a bag, a case. And he points to the first pasuk in the Torah. Starts with the letter Bet, Bereshis. The first pasuk in the Torah ends with the letter, not the Torah. The first pasuk in Chumash Bereshis. Bereshis ba'alokim et hashamayim ve'es haaretz tzadi. So the first pasuk already, the beginning and end, indicates that this is a closed bag that you really won't be able to ever understand everything. Because Beis, if you do the Milu Yoisios, the filling of the letters, the concealed and the revealed part, Bet, Yud, Taf, what is that in Gematria? 412. Bet, Yud, and Taf, 412. Tzadi, how much is that in Gematria? What's that? So together? 412 and 100. 412 and 100. 512. Gematiav Teku. The only problem is it doesn't work. Now I'm saying, I know this for years. I've been saying this for years. It doesn't work. Teku is 516. Tzadi and Beis is only 512. Okay, we have a question on the Shach. It's a mitzvah to try to figure out. Whoever is going to come up with a clever figure out. What's that? Why? Tzadi, Daled, Yud. Oh, it's fine. Tzadi, Daled, Yud is 104. 104. Sorry. Tzadi is 104. Beis is 412. Together 516, which is exactly the Gematria of Teku. Baruch Hashem, mitzvah leyashev, and you just did a big mitzvah. The Shach now is meilitz yosher on you from above. I'm not just saying that. It's a Gemara in Yivamos Tzad Design. If you say at Vatur name of someone who's not here, Sfasav doivos bakever, his lips move in the kever. Says Sefer Hasidim. What does that mean? Simin Reish Chav Dalet. The Sefer Hasidim says, the person whom you said the Torah in his name is a good advocate on your behalf and davens for you. So Mordechai Cohen of Tzfat right now is davening for you and is a good advocate, not just to you, for whole family mitzvah. So Beis and Taf, beginning of first pasuk in the Torah already say this is a tik, this is a closed bag. You're not really going to be able to understand everything. So there's already alluding to that at the beginning of the Torah. And the Aruch is one of the Rishonim, and he writes that the word teku is from the language of tik. Just like the tik, you don't know what's inside the tik. So too, the question that was resolved, that was ended with a teku, you don't know how to resolve it. It's a bayad de lo ifsheta. The Gemara ends it with a teku. You don't know what it. That's right. That's why we're using the teku, because you don't know what's in the bag. You don't know how to decide on this question. So Tishbi, you said before, teku is Tishbi, Yataretz, Kushos, V'bayos. Who's Tishbi? So why are you saying teku? Say Eiko. Since when you're calling him Tishbi? He has many names. Eliyahu, Tishbi Eliyahu, Giladi Eliyahu. He has many names. But his name is Eliyahu. Whether he's from Tishbi, whether he's from Gilad, all kinds of ideas why he's called Tishbi and Gilad. But why don't you say Eiku? Why Teku? Comes the Sefer Zecher Chayil and says we have to use the word Tishbi and not Eliyahu here, because Tishbi tells us what Eliyahu is going to figure it out for us. Taf is Torah, Shin is Shas, Beis is Bavli, Yud is Yerushalmi, and Eliyahu is going to figure out all the questions that we have. That's why it's called Tishbi and not Eiko. Not Eliyahu. I'm sorry? Taf is Torah, Shin is Shas, Shas. Bet is Bavli, Yud is Yerushalmi, Tishbi will figure out all the Ibayos that we have. One of the Rishonim wrote a sefer called Sefer HaKushyot. Sefer of questions. One of the Rishonim, we don't know who it is. And in Kuf Lamed Aleph, he writes, why is it that throughout Shas we always use the language Ad sheyavu Eliyahu? Eliyahu is going to come and he's going to resolve it to us. Who says, where does it say in the Torah that Eliyahu will be able to figure it all out for us? Why Eliyahu? And if it is Eliyahu, what does it say in the Torah? Is there a remez in the Torah that Eliyahu is going to be the one resolving all our unresolved sugyas? He brings you. The pasuk says in Dvarim, Ho'il Moshe be'er es ha-Torah. Moshe says to Klal Yisrael, whoever is Ho'il, he will be able to be'er es ha-Torah. Ho'il, the same letters as Eliyahu. So Moshe Rabbeinu already said, by the way, Eliyahu will be the one. He was hiding it. He was switching the letters around. Eliyahu is going to be the one figuring out all the tekus and all the unresolved questions in Shas. But it's a tremendous musar that we can learn from a teku. Many times. The Gemara ends with a teku, which means, we don't know what to do, question mark. And what's the next two words? Tanu Rabbanon. Let's go and learn. Which means we don't give up. You have a question? So you have a question. So what? We can't continue. Which is so applicable to us, not just in Shas. We have a question, we don't understand something. We have so many questions, especially in the last 9-10 months, I think. We have so many questions. But that doesn't stop us. And we can continue to look for answers. But while we're in the process, we still continue to do what we need to do. Teku! Tanu Rabbanon. Rabbanon sat and they learned and they continue to study. And in Mitzvah one day we'll understand it all. But that doesn't exempt us. So the biggest musar is from Teku. In Parashat Pinchas we learn about a lot of korbanos. Korban is a keves. Hebrew is not an arbitrary language. Lashon HaKodesh is not an arbitrary language we decide to call something for because we just feel like it. Everything has a root, everything has a name, has a meaning. What's the meaning of the word keves? Where does it come from? A slope. How does that work with your sheep that you want to bring as a korban?
I'm not sure.
Me neither. What's that? You can bring everything up. Machloikis. Psikta Rabasi. Three-way machloikis. What it really means. B'shama say. You know why it's called a keves? She'en kovshin avonoseyem shel Yisrael. You bring a pasuk. Yashuv yirachamenu yichbosh avonenu avonosenu yichbosh. Same letters as keves. Which means it pushes down the avonos. Basila say, no, it's not good. Don't say that. Because kol davar shehu nichbash, anything that you press down, ultimately, soifo, latzuf. Ultimately, it's going to come up. And we don't want the avonos to come up again and float. And therefore, why is it called a keves? Ela kvasim. Kvasim bnei shana shehem mechabsim avonoseihem shel Yisrael. Laundry. Kvisa. The keves does laundry for us. It atones for our sins. Ben Azai say, no. Kvasim bnei shana shehem mechabsim avonoteihem shel Yisrael ve'oisim oisam ketinok ben shana. Not only do they do our laundry, they actually make us like a 1-year-old who is sinless. That is why it is called a keves. The pasuk says about this distributing Eretz Yisrael that it goes through a lottery. Ach begoiral yechalek es haaretz. It all goes through a lottery. So let's spend a few minutes about lottery. Goiral. How does it work? About 350 years ago, middle of Sudas Purim, 12 happy Jewish people were sitting and having a great time. They decided to have a little lottery on a beautiful, expensive silver becher. So each participant put some money aside, as they all decided, and they had 12 little pieces of paper that they put in one basket with their names, and another little tiny papers that they put on the other side, empty, except on one of them it says, Mazel Tov. Whoever gets the Mazel Tov will match it. He is the lucky winner, and he gets the beautiful silver becher. They called one kid, start pulling out the names, and he did. He took one name from the basket with the names, and another from the basket with potentially the winner of the silver becher. Oh, empty. He took the second one, took it out. Mazel Tov. Oh, the second guy is the winner. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Some people were wondering, how is it possible that so fast on the second time he already took out the Mazel Tov? And therefore they went to that basket with the empty notes, and they saw that there is a tiny little mistake. There are actually 2 pieces of paper saying Mazel Tov, not one. So they run to the Chavos Yair, Reb Yair Chaim Bachrach, this is 350 years ago, and they say, Rebbe, what do we do? Do we do the lottery again? He said, you have to do it again. Great. They did it again. This time somebody else won. But when they finished, they just wanted to make sure everything is okay. They opened up, and instead of having 12 pieces of paper, there were only 11. Now again, they don't know what to do. So they run back to the Chavos Yair and says, Rebbe, what do we do? Is this legitimate? Is it not? Do we have to cancel this lottery and do it all over again? The guy who actually won says, what's your problem? The fact that one is missing just means there's more of a chance for all of you guys, except for the guy whose name is missing. Fine. So you know what? I'm willing to compromise with him. I'll come to a deal with him. I'll give him a third of my value, whatever the silver becher is worth. I'll give him a third. They said no. They said the whole thing is not right. We want to do the whole thing again. Who's right? Does it have to be 100% for everybody at all times and only then it's kosher? Anyways, you didn't win and you didn't win. So what's the difference to you? We raise the chances of everybody else because there's only 11 names instead of 12. Only the guy who's missing lichora has a claim. What do you say? What do you say?
Another way to do the lottery, the video have only one spot with the 12 names, big random, and that's the winner.
But that's not the way they did it.
So
do they have a claim or not?
So based on what I just said, maybe there's a claim because irrespective of whether it's 11 or 10 or 5, this will be one that will be picked up with much more.
You have a raya?
No.
Do we move without rayas here? The Chavos Yair brings a Gemara. He found a Gemara. He says you must do the whole thing again. Why? Gemara Bar Basra coming up in Daf Yomi. It's Daf Kufav. How long is it? Another couple months, 2-3 months. The Gemara tells about 2 brothers who inherited 3 fields. Did a lottery. Each one gets one, and the third field they divide between them, and that's what they did. When they finish, another guy comes and he says, by the way, I'm also your brother. Really? We didn't know. And they check it out, and Lemaisa came out that they had another brother that they were not aware of. So now what do? So they did a new lottery, and the third brother got the third field, that before the two brothers divided between them. And now the question is, can each of the brothers hold on to their first field? But really it wasn't a good lottery because we ignored the third brother that we didn't know about. But Lemaise, how can we keep holding on to the field that was done in a non-kosher type of a lottery? So the Tosfos over there says that this is what the Rav and Shmuel are arguing in the Gemara, and the halacha is like Rav, that the first lottery is completely cancelled. Says the Chavos Yair, see from here, that when a lottery is not 100% kosher, it's completely cancelled and you got to do it again. So the Chavos Yair explains, lottery is something bidei Shamayim, it's heaven. It's in the hands of Shamayim. But it's only in the hands of Shamayim and HaKadosh Baruch Hu intervenes if it's 100% kosher. When you try to intervene and you do something which is not 100%, it's only 98% or less kosher, so then HaKadosh Baruch Hu says it has nothing to do with it. So if you want the lottery to work, and the lottery is really from Shamayim, they throw in, okay, you're the winner, so it has to be done in a 100% kosher way. And therefore he says, even if in the basket, instead of 12 names, there would be 30 names, because Moshe was written twice, and this guy whose name is Moshe did not win, L'chorah should be fine. Even then, the other members of the party can say, we want to cancel it, because as long as it wasn't done 100% kosher, and writing Moshe twice, even though he doesn't win, is not kosher, you can cancel the whole thing. This Chiddush, that even Moshe himself, you write the name Moshe twice, Moshe himself, and he didn't win. He can cancel. Why? The Maharil Diskin explains, the person who has his name twice can say, I paid in order to win in this lottery. And what would happen if I would win? You guys would cancel it. You say, wait a second, of course you won. You've written twice. So immediately the whole thing doesn't start. It's not a kosher lottery. And therefore he has the right to cancel it. And more than that, he can say, you know why I didn't win? Mishamayim, they didn't want me to win. But they knew that if I'm going to win, you guys are going to say the whole thing is canceled, and therefore I didn't win. And because of that, I want to cancel the whole thing and do it again. Comes out from here, if the lottery, any lottery, is not done 100% without any mistakes, you can ignore it and you have to do it again. In Parshas Pinchas we will find all the moyadim. So we can speak about every moyed starting with Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, any moyadim. Let me ask you a question. Yontef, one is allowed to cook? No question, right? Right? How is it possible that a Yontef, somebody is not allowed to cook? Not for others, for himself. I'm sorry? Yontef, that falls on a weekday, and he is not allowed to cook for himself. He feels great. There is no neder. And yet he's not allowed. Can it be?
He doesn't have an existing flame.
He has two existing flames.
He wants to bring it for another day.
For Yontef itself, he can't cook today's Yontef, and he wants, on 12 p.m. on a Yontef, we'll say, no, you can't cook.
He did neder?
No neder. Can it be?
Fasting, and then the fasted Yom Tov,
And if he's fasting?
so he can't eat.
Says the Shulchan Aruch, Simen Taf Kuf Chaf Zayin, somebody who's fasting on Yontef is not allowed to cook for others, even for the day itself, because he is like a person that didn't put an Eruv that is cooking for others. And the Mishnah Berurah explains, somebody who is fasting is not allowed to cook. If he can't cook for others, he can't cook for himself, because it's not considered ochel nefesh for himself. 2 points. The end of the Pasha, Rashi brings a Medrash Tanchuma. You have to allow ochel nefesh for yourself in order to cook. Since he can't, because he's fasting today, so it's not ochel nefesh for him. If he can't cook for himself, he can't cook for others, he can't cook for himself, and that's the answer.
Is one allowed to fast on the Yom Tov?
Tanis Chalom. Doctor told him to fast. Rabbi Isai, Rashi tells us how to conduct yourself with your guests. He brings a medrash. A person who has a guest, the first day, give him patumos, give him beautiful steaks. The following day, downgrade, only give him fish. Then give him legumes, then give him vegetables. Don't know what you're going to give him the sixth every day. Maybe he's going to give you the food. You see that it diminishes with time. Great. That's what you do as a host to your guest. But now I want to ask you about the guest. The minhag is, many places, a person goes to eat by someone, he gives him a bottle of wine. Right? Very common. We have a rule. There is nothing that's not hinted to in our sources. Is there anywhere that suggests that a guest should bring his host a bottle of wine? I didn't find a source for flowers, but I found for a bottle of wine. Doron means a gift.
What does Yaakov bring to Yosef when they come down? Some nuts, right? That's it.
Mizimras haaretz, yeah, all kinds of things. But who says he's coming to him to eat by him? To eat lunch. He's just meeting him after not meeting him, seeing him for a long time. Gemore, Ksubis, Nun Zayin Amud Beis. Toisvis over there says, I'm reading to you the language of Toisvis, Lefi, Shederech ha'achsenai, it's the way of the guest, Lehashkos livnei habayis, Kedei limtzochen be'eneihem. You want to find favor in the eyes of your host, household members, you bring a bottle of wine. Avraham Avinu instituted Shachis. Yitzchak instituted Mincha. Yaakov instituted Ma'ariv. In this parsha we learn about Rosh Chodesh. Who instituted Musaf of Rosh Chodesh? David HaMelech. When, where, why? What did you say, Yosef? You're close. Says the Birkei Yosef, or Chaim Tav Chav Gimel, Seif Beis, Yosef HaTzadik's mother. Her name was Rachel Imeinu. Rachel Imeinu saw in Ruach HaKodesh that the women in the desert will not sin in Chet HaEgel, and Rosh Chodesh is a gift to women for not sinning in Chet HaEgel, and therefore she wrote this tefillah for Rosh Chodesh, for women, and she signed her name. Where? Rashi Chodashim le'amcha nata'ata, Rashi Chodashim le'amcha, Rashi Tevos, Rachel. I'm the author of this little paragraph. Anu Shaila. It can happen tomorrow. Reuven came to the ER, Shabbos, Del Shabbos. I think tomorrow morning, Alois HaShacha is going to be about 4:30-ish. Reuven comes to the hospital at 4:10 a.m. Shabbos morning. Doctor checks him and says, listen, we're going to have to do a certain procedure. No problem with Chilul Shabbos, you're allowed to do it. You have to do it, fine. Doctor doesn't care if you do it right now, 4:15 a.m., or if you wait 20 minutes, 4:35. As far as medically, it doesn't make a difference. Is there an Indian to do it right now, 4:15 a.m. before Alois HaShacha? Or wait, make sure you do it during the day and not at night. Let's wait after Alois HaShacha, let's do it at 4:35. We'll do it at 5 o'clock in the morning. If medically it doesn't make a difference, is there any preference when we violate Shabbos? Should we violate at night or should we violate during the day? Night refers to Midas Adin only up to Chatzos. And therefore we don't say Tehillim, we don't do Mikra at night from Shkia up to Chatzos. From Chatzos, it's actually Ma'orich V'Rachamim, it's a good time. Very, very, very good time. So we're not looking for Sgulos, we're looking for Halacha. Is there any reason halachically to prefer violating Shabbos if one needs to and he's allowed to? Before Alois, in other words, nighttime violation, or after Alois, daytime Chilul Shabbos, what's better? Or maybe it doesn't make a difference. Zizin Magdimi Mitzvahs, that's when the doctor says, listen, you have to do it. So, okay, let's do it right now. Doctor said, it doesn't make a difference to me. After, go and have my little coffee. For me, it doesn't make a difference. As far as your health, it doesn't make a difference. In the next 3 hours, we must do it. Halachically, for Shabbos purposes, is there a difference between a violation of Shabbos at night or a violation of Shabbos during the day? Or maybe there's no difference. Maybe it's a trick question.
I would say do it at night, that way you can daven Sunday.
He is not davening for 3 days after this.
Only 3 days?
He has a procedure now. As far as the halachos of Shabbos, he'll be able to daven or he won't be able to daven. So I don't care about davening, I care about Shabbos. Is there a difference between Chilul Shabbos at night or Chilul Shabbos during the day? That's what I'm saying, before Alois or after Alois.
Yom
That's my question. Is there more kedusha? And even if there is more kedusha, so what? It's both dioraisa. Is there more kedusha during the day than at night? And even if it is, so what? Who says it's more severe to violate Shabbos during the day than during the night when they both come from the Torah?
During the day.
I'm sorry?
Say more brachos during the day.
And therefore?
You think it'd be more kedusha to have, more skula to have it.
First of all, you can say that about every single day, not just Shabbos. And second of all, you can stay up and say a lot of brachos at night. Every 2 seconds, take samim and then take something to drink. Then take something to eat and go to the bathroom. No difference? Day, night, same.
We say there's more communal prayers during the day.
But I'm asking regarding Shabbos. The halachos of Shabbos, he's in a place where there is no tefillos b'tzibur. He's in a place at the end of the world, in a hospital, there's no minyan in there. And his condition doesn't allow him to daven anyways.
Why is it called Kedusha Rabbah?
That's Lashon Sagi, no. Because it's a very short Kiddush. The Kiddush Friday night is much more important than the Kiddush during the day. And therefore, Kiddush during the day, you see many times people will do it on a schnapps. Not necessarily on wine. Friday night, nobody does it on a schnapps. Kiddush at night, dioraisa. More important than Kiddush during the day. But not to insult the Kiddush during the day, we call it Kiddush Rabbah. Even though it's a small Kiddush. No difference, right? The Doivev Meisharim was asked. And a person has to violate Shabbos. He has to do an Av Melacha or a Tolada. He can choose. What's better? Why? Tolada is Dioraisa. What's the difference? Av Melacha, there are 39 Avos Melachos, and there are many, many subsidiaries. Toladot. But they're all Dioraisa as well. And if one violates an Av Melacha, what does he get if it's B'mezid? Skila. And if he violates a Tolada B'mezid, what does he get? Skila. And if he violates an Av Melacha unintentionally, what does he get? Korban Chatas. And if he only violates a Tolada unintentionally, what does he get? The same, it doesn't make a difference. The Misharim said, Tolada. Why? What's the difference? Lemaise, if it's you're calling it a Tolada, you're calling it an Av, and you're saying the halachos are the same, so what's the difference? The nafkamina to know if a person did a Tolada or a Melacha is, if he did one Av Melacha and it's Tolada, so then he would only have to bring one Korban Chatas. But if he did two different Avos Melacha, he wrote and he baked, then he has to bring two Korban. But if he did an Av and it's Tolada, he only has to bring one Korban Chatas. Or he did two Toladot of the same Av, he only has to bring one Korban Chatas. But Lemaisa, the severity of Av and Tolada are the same. Well, what is it Av? What's the Tolada? I'll give you an example. There's an Av Melacha called Choyresh. What's Choyresh? He's plowing. The Tolada of it is anything that prepares the ground for planting. So if he takes the rocks out of the field, it's the same. It's only Tolada. But it's the same chiyuv, just like the Av Melacha. So the Doiv Misharim says we have a rule. Hakal, tchila. For example, a person who has to eat on Yom Kippur. Doctor says he has to eat. So we say, okay, so go ahead. Eat whatever you want. No. If we can only give him l'shi'urim, we first feed him l'shi'urim. L'shi'urim, it's not punishable until you reach the level of, which means you're not allowed to eat one crumb on Yom Kippur. It's an issur d'oraisa, because we paskin chatzi shi'ur asur min haTorah. But it's not punishable until you reach a certain amount. Drinking, eating. So when you eat less than the punishable amount, it's easier than that which is actually punishable. That is called hakal, tchila. So now we show that lichoira there's no difference between an Av and a Tolada. The Doiv Misharim says there is a difference, and therefore choose the Tolada before the Av, because we go with this rule of hakal tchila. You first do the thing which is easier. Why is it considered kal? Why is the Tolada called easier, more lenient than the Av? So he brings a Toisvis in Yevamos Daf Zayin Amud Beis. The Gemara over there says that the Metzoya he has to go through a purification process. In order to do that, he has to go into the Azara. He has to put his earlobe and his thumb in, and they sprinkle it with blood. But it's an Isur D'Oraisa, he can't come in there. So why is he allowed to come in? What else can you do? He has to come in. So the Tosfos says, but wait a second. If he already can bring his earlobe and his thumb inside, maybe the whole body can go inside. What's the difference? If he's already half inside, so let the whole body go in. And Tosfos says, no. He has two terutzim, Tosfos, but for our purpose, one of the terutzim of the Tosfos, he says, to go in his whole body, Isur b'Forosh in the Torah. The Torah says, don't do this. Only part of his body is only learned from a hekesh. Something which is explicitly in the Torah, in the pasuk, something which is only learned by hekesh, that is considered easier, even though they're both isurim deoraisa. You see from here that hakal tchila will allow you to do something, or you will have to choose something which is learned only with a hekesh, something which is not explicit in the Torah. It's better to do that before you actually transgress something which is written in the Torah. Therefore, when you violate Shabbos, choose the Tolada, which is not one of the melachos written in the Torah, before you choose the Av Melacha. What does it have to do with us? Shabbos violation before or after Alus HaShachar? Mechilta. The pasuk says, V'yom HaShvi Shabbos LaHashem Elokecha. Asks the Mechilta, why is this pasuk written? V'yom HaShvi Shabbos LaHashem Elokecha. Because the pasuk says, Kol ha'oise melacha b'Shabbos mois yumas. The pasuk says that, Oinesh shamanu, that's the punishment, mois yumas. Azhara minayin. You can't punish a person without giving him warning. Talmud lo yomar v'yom hashvi Shabbos LaHashem Elokecha lo ta'aseh kol melacha. So you have two psukim, one pasuk for a warning and one pasuk for the punishment. Ask the Mechilta. So this is very good for daytime. It says Yom HaShabbos. Oinesh ve'azhara al meleches halayla minayin. And who told you you can't do any melacha Friday night as well, not just on the daytime of Shabbos? It says the Mechilta Talmud lo yomar mechaleleha mois yumas. In the word mechaleleha, do you see the word night? No. Says the Netziv, mechaleleha is feminine, and that goes on the night. But it doesn't say explicitly in the Torah nighttime. It does say Yom HaShabbos as far as the day after Alus HaShachar. It says in the Torah. This we're only learning out of a ribui. So the Mechilta continues and says, Onesh ve'azhara lo shama. For nighttime we didn't hear. Talmud lo yomar v'yom hashvi Shabbos LaHashem Elokecha. You don't need to say the word Shabbos. V'yom hashvi Shabbos is redundant. Yom HaShvi is the Shabbos. So why do you say Yom HaShvi Shabbos LaHashem Elokecha? Shabbos tells you about the nighttime. So you have the punishment, you have the warning, but you only have it in a roundabout way that it's not, it says explicitly in the Torah, like the word Yom HaShabbos during the day. Comes out that if you need to violate Shabbos, daytime or nighttime, daytime is more severe. Because daytime it says specifically in the pasuk. Nighttime we're only learning out from a certain yitu, from a superfluous words in the Torah, from a repetition in the Torah, but it doesn't say the word night. So it comes out, we're going to have to answer this guy. Do it right now. Come 4:15 a.m. before Alus HaShachar, do it right now. The severity of the daytime is more than nighttime. In fact, the Netziv writes, in Shmo Yisrael Medalef Yudalid, Kedushasa shel halayla, the Kedusha, the sanctity of the nighttime, Kala mishel yom. It's easier than daytime. However, Sha'ar Tshuva Or HaChaim Siman Reish Ayin Aleph says, Kvod Yom Kodem Lichvod Laila. When it comes to Kavod, the daytime, not only the sanctity, also comes before the night. And he brings a Yam Shel Shlomo. Yam Shel Shlomo, Marshal. He brings in Gittin. The Marshal is yelling about people who are not careful about it, and they have their nighttime Seudah match that of the daytime, or even better. And he says, I love fish. The Marshal testifies about himself. I love fish. And I don't eat fish Friday night. Because I want to have the Shabbos meal. So the Shabbos in daytime, more important than Friday night. And therefore I refrain from eating fish to show the Shabbos day, Kvod Yom Adif. This is what the Marshal writes. And he says, so too, anyone who has, not fish, but whatever, something his favorite, should keep it for the daytime to show that Seudah of the day is more important and the honor of it is greater than the nighttime. The Mishnah Berurah brings over there, Reish Ayin Aleph, Seif Cotton Test, a person who has Minei Megadim, he has some nice cakes and ice creams and whatever it is, טוב יותר שיניחם לצורך סעודת היום. It's better to leave them over for tomorrow, not for Friday night. Now it's interesting that the Maharshal testifies on himself that he didn't eat fish Friday night because the Kitzur Shla and other Sfarim bring up Piyasod, Pikabolo. There's a big Indian to eat fish on every one of the 3 meals. There is even an opinion, the Beis Hillel is one of the commentaries of Shulchan Aruch. Beis Hillel has an opinion that eating fish on Shabbos is D'oraisa. Unbelievable. The Shulchan Aruch Harav rejects this, and he says, if so show me in the pasuk in the Torah, thou shalt eat fish. Where does it say fish in the Torah? It doesn't say anywhere. And according to that, it comes out that the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch forgot to mention a D'oraisa. Eat fish on Shabbos. So therefore the Shulchan Aruch rejects this. But you see from here how important it is to eat fish. The Bnei Yissaschar writes, you know why it's so important? Fish was blessed on Thursday. Man was blessed on Friday. Shabbos was blessed on the 7th day. So when you have on the Shabbos those 3 blessings combined together, v'hachut hamishulash lo b'meheira yinatek. He brings the pasuk. The 3 strings over here will not be severed so easy. So l'chorah it's surprising that the Maharshal didn't eat fish when it's such an important thing, especially al pi hasod, to eat fish on each one of the meals. But maybe it's not so surprising because we find the Maharshal in Baba Kama Siman Tzadiches says, he's talking there about putting on tefillin when you're seated. The Zohar HaKodesh says one must put tefillin when you're sitting. The language of the Maharshal. Even if Reb Shimon Bar Yochai would stand here and would yell to us, we wouldn't listen to him. Because in most halachos, halacha doesn't follow him. So the Maharshal doesn't get so excited about the Zohar apparently. He writes that most of the things in the Zohar are very hard to understand. They're not clear to us. It's Primius HaTorah, it's Soidus HaTorah. We go with a straight halacha, as in the revealed parts of Torah, and therefore maybe it's not so surprising that the Maharshal stayed away from eating fish Friday night, because he wanted to make sure that the honor of Shabbos is kept, as shown by eating fish, his favorite, dafka, on during Shabbos. Like the Arizal writes that the neshamus of tzaddikim are reincarnated in fish, and therefore there's a big inyan to eat fish dafka on Shabbos to raise the neshamus of tzaddikim. I remember growing up, he always used to tell me, if you're stuck somewhere, and you don't have what to say. You want to say Advar Torah. You don't have what to say. You have to say one-liner. Kol ha'oichel dag b'yom dag nitzal midag. It's in the Zohar. What does that mean? Kol ha'oichel dag, anyone who eats fish. B'yom dag, what's the day of fish? Dalet Gimel, 4 and 3 is 7. He will be saved, nitzal midag, Dalet Gimel, dine gehenom. So I use it many times in this liner. Saying, it's a Tikkun Yazor in the Zohar. That's what I used to say. It doesn't exist. So sorry to disappoint many. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in Chazal's writings anywhere. It doesn't exist in the Zohar. It doesn't exist in Tikkun Yazor. The first time we find it is in a sefer called Shulchan Lechem Haponim in Siman Reish Mem Bet from the Chachamim of Tripoli, which is Libya. And he lived in the year Taf Kuf Samech until Taf Reish Nun Aleph. It's not so long ago. 150, 200 years ago, something like that. It's not in the Zohar, not Tikkun Hazeh. So if you do choose to say this liner, first of all, you can always have a Dvar Torah for Shabbos. You should have a Dvar Torah for Shabbos. That's not a one-size-fits-all. But if you choose to, don't say that it's from the Zohar or Tikkun Hazeh. It's just not true. So back to our question at the beginning, the guy who went to the hospital, we should recommend him violate Shabbos if you need to. It's better at nighttime, better than doing it during the day.
Is there any stand for saying that you have an option of preventing people from Halacha Shabbos? You should prevent them from doing it in the day rather than the night. The reason I'm asking
L'chora, here we should stop them right now. You see something in front of you, you should do it right now. What's going to happen tomorrow? You don't know. Maybe the guy's going to fall asleep. Maybe he's going to become Baal Tshuva.
But the reason I'm asking this question is well known, right, that the Bab, they have a mikvah. The Shabbos davening starts at 10 o'clock. And I read once the reason for that. The Rebbe asked Rebbe when he was in Kulslovetz, he was maybe in France, and he found a lot of the shopkeepers, had an early Shabbos minyan, and then they'd go and open their shops. So he decided on that basis that he was going to put the davening at a time like mid-morning, and then afterwards it wouldn't be really worth a while going to open the shops. I was told that was his cheshbon, but I see he did that in the day. But also, if it was trying to prevent Shabbos in the night, then surely it would have introduced an early Shabbos minyan, so they would have to close their shops while everyone recognises it's Shabbos. I'm just trying to think from that there's a fact to say it's more important.
It's hard to comment on it because I didn't see this in writing from him. So we're hypothesizing. I'm not sure if that's the reason. Lichoira, if you make it at 10, nobody's going to come. Everybody's going to come to the store. They're going to, if they had an early minyan, they daven and then they open their store. You make it at 10, maybe less people are going to come. But anyways, we also have a Shulchan Aruch. And the Shulchan Aruch says what time davening is and what time Shema is. And at the end, if you start a minyan after the time of Kriyas Shema, I once talked to Reb Chaim about this, and Reb Chaim told me it's called Chilul Hashem. You set up ahead of time. If you were 10 doctors who just finished a very long surgery, and it's 9:30 a.m. and it's still time for davening, you can start after time of Kriyas Shema. But to set up ahead of time, tomorrow I'm going to daven in a davening that starts after the time of Kriyas Shema, that's called Chilul Hashem.
Even though you say
And if, I'm
Even
sorry?
though you say Kriyas Shema.
Yes. First of all, some people don't know to do that. And yes, even though Kriyas Shema has to be on the Seder HaTfilah before the time of Kriyas Shema. And when you start so late, potentially you can also go after Zman Tfilah. You're going to daven Shachis at the Zman Tfilah. And there's no heter to that. There's Shulchan Aruch in town. So I don't know if that was the reason. I don't know if he instituted it. I don't know. I can't comment on something that I don't know. But if
a Michal Shalach is coming to your house for Shabbos, is it better to ask him to come Friday night or Saturday morning?
First of all, you can't ask a Michal Shabbos that you know is going to drive to come during the day. You can't.
He imposes himself. He says he's coming.
Okay.
So is it better to tell him to come in the morning or come in the night?
It's better lichoira shev al taise, be passive. Because again, you're telling him, come, he says he's going to come tomorrow. And who told you he's going to come? He's going to get up in the morning, and he's going to have a tummy ache, and he won't be able to come. He goes into his car, and the car doesn't start. At night, he thinks about it, what happened to me? I left Yiddishkeit, it becomes a Baal Tshuva, in the morning it is Tzadik Yisod Oila. So you can't tell a person, come and violate Shabbos. Shev ve'al taise adif. Friday, it's always easier, because you tell him, come to me before Shabbos, and stay. We have a lot of room for you. If he chooses at the end of the meal to leave, that's his problem. It's not your cheshbon.
If he's traveling anyway, and maybe he will see what Shabbat is like in your house, then make him do Shuvah. Is that possible?
That's a cheshbon that only when we understand the value of mitzvahs and the severity of averus, we can do. Which means we're sacrificing a Kodesh Baruch Hu, one of your mitzvahs, to get something bigger. Because we know it's more important to your Kodesh Baruch Hu. We can't do that. We don't own the Torah. We're supposed to uphold the Torah. And we're supposed to get everybody else to observe the Torah and to fulfill its mitzvahs and stay away from its averis. We don't have the power to say this mitzvah is less important and this mitzvah is more important. And therefore it's called mitzvah abba be'avera. If a Kodesh Baruch Hu really wants this person to do tshuva, Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to find a way. Not by us violating Shabbos will this guy become a Baal Tshuva. It doesn't work. So if we do it in a way which is a permissible way, and this is a very classic Shabbat in Kiruv circles, if you invite the person for Friday night dinner, it could be that he's going to try, but you allow him to stay with you. You say, come before Shabbos, have the meal, and we'd love you for you to stay. There's plenty of room here. If you do that, you didn't do anything wrong. If he chooses afterwards to drive, that's his cheshbon, not your cheshbon. But to invite him for Shabbos meal in the morning, when you know there is no way for him to walk, he has to drive, you're by yadayim causing him to be Mechal Shabbos. I'm reading to you a pasuk. Tell me the names of the people of this family that are mentioned in this pasuk. V'shem eshes Amram Yochevet bas Levi, asher yalda osa leLevi b'Mitzrayim. Up to here, who's mentioned in his family? Amram and Yochevet, parents of Moshe Rabbeinu, asher yalda osa leLevi b'Mitzrayim. So who's mentioned here?
Levi's wife.
Who's Levi? The father of whom? Amram. So we have Levi, we have Amram, his wife is Yochevet, and the pasuk continues, and she bore to Amram, v'telot le'Amram, es Aaron v'es Moshe v'es Miriam achoisam. So we have the whole family. Levi, as a kid's name is Amram, marries Yochevet, and they have 3 kids. Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam. Who's missing?
Levi's wife.
Levi's wife. Great. What's Levi's wife's name? That's my question. The whole family is mentioned here. Chaval not to talk about Levi's wife. Do we know Levi's wife? Big Chiddush. Moshe Avskeni said, we just said it. I'm reading to you the pasuk again. Veshem Eshes Amram, and the name of Amram's wife is Yocheved Bas Levi. Asher Yalda Osa LeLevi b'Mitzrayim. Osa, what was his name? Osa bore her. To whom? To her husband Levi in Mitzrayim. It's kind of confusing. Let's do it again. Veshem Eshes Amram, and the wife of Amram. You know what her name is? Yocheved Bas Levi. Asher Yalda, but who gave birth to Yocheved? Asher Yalda Osa gave birth to Yocheved LeLevi b'Mitzrayim. Vatelet Le'ama Misaron v'es Moshe v'es Miriam. Bala Tosis Anatoyim, Moshe Avskeni, they say Oisa was actually the name of the wife of Levi. Chiddush.
Why is he telling me that possible? Because I'm just quoting Miriam Achasam. What's the Indian? I mean, is he telling us information we don't know? Why does he? It seems an extra word.
Maybe because in Parshas Va'era, Rashi brings on the Medrash that Aaron and Moshe shkulin ke'echad. So if you would say without the word Achoisam, you would think she's also shkulim ke'echad, she is with them, and she's not. Aaron and Moshe are one, in many aspects they're like one, and there's Miriam, and they're different. They're brothers and sisters, but they're on a high level on their own, they're like one, and she is on her own. Can it be a person davens Ma'ariv, Rosh Chodesh? Tonight is Rosh Chodesh, it's davening Ma'ariv. And will tell him, but don't say Yalav Yavoy. Why not?
Something early Shabbos?
On Tuesday. Can it be? Says the Eretz Tzvi, based on the Gra, the Gon Mevina and the Shla, one who davens early, miplaga mincha, whether it's on Tuesday or on Friday, will not say Yalav Yavoy because there is no Tosefes Rosh Chodesh. There is Tosefet Shabbos, Tosefet Yontif, but there's no Tosefet Rosh Chodesh, and therefore if he says it early, he cannot say Yale V'Yavo.
Like we read in the Halacha, because I think last week or a few weeks ago was Rosh Chodesh and Shabbos. Early Minyan, or
Yeah,
Shabbos is,
right. It was, yeah.
they say Yale V'Yavo on their early Shabbos Minyan.
According to the Eretz Tzvi, which is a Chiddush, and the Eretz Tzvi is always very original, died in the Holocaust, he brings them the Shla in the Gon. I didn't see others say this, but he brings it in their name. The one who davens from Miplag HaMincha cannot say it. I don't think the Halacha follows him, but that's what the Eretz Tzvi says.
The Geula, they do it, don't they?
Yeah, I think so. What Halacha you cannot fulfill on the first day of Rosh Chodesh? What's that? Because of honor, you can't do 29 days out of the month, except for the day that you say it. A Chiddush. You can't divorce a wife on the first day of Rosh Chodesh. Why not? Mishnah Bua. Simen Taf Chaf Zayin, Seif Cotton. Aleph brings, there's a machlokes, how do you write the first day of Rosh Chodesh when there's 2 days? What do you call it? Yom Lamed, the 30th day. Many say like that. But the Bach says no. You write on the 30th day of Chodesh Ploni, which is really Rosh Chodesh, the first day of Rosh Chodesh of the next month. Machlokes. That's the Pri Megadim wants to say. And therefore you don't divorce on the first day because you don't know how to write the get. You're allowed to get married in because the Ksuba is just a monetary contract. It's much, much easier than writing a get and potentially allowing an Eshes Ish to get married. And therefore in the Ksuba you just write the 30th day of the month of, which is Rosh Chodesh. But Naget, since it's a Machlokes, don't divorce them. Tfilah of Rosh Chodesh, we say, Uve'avoidas Beis HaMikdash, Nismach Kulanu. Why? Why Dafka on Rosh Chodesh you say the words, oh, we're going to be so happy, finally, Mitzvah Hashem, it's coming, Beis HaMikdash, but on Rosh Chodesh, we're going to be so happy. Why are you going to be so happy? You're going to be happier than other days on the calendar, than Shabbos and Yom Tovim? Most pshat. The Chidah in Petach Enaim Shavuos Daf Tes says, after the sin of the golden calf, Rosh Chodesh was given as a gift to women. But in the future, it will come back again to be a Yontef also for men. And therefore, avoid us beis hamidrash nismach kulanu, because right now we have a little tsar that this is their yontif and not ours. But in the future, it will be shared by both men and women. Mimele nismach kulanu. Reb Chaim Kanievsky, he explained based on the Medrash Psikta Rabasi Piska Aleph, and the Medrash asks on the pasuk we read at the end of the fast day. Vayamidei chodesh bechodsho, umidei Shabbos b'Shabbato, yavo chol basar lishtachavot lefanai. Asks the Medrash, how is it possible? If you live close to Beis Hamikdash, no problem. On Shabbos you can go there as well. But if you live in Haifa, how exactly are you coming on Shabbos? Rosh Chodesh you can, it's a weekday. But how are you coming on a Shabbos if you live far away? Midei Shabbos b'Shabbato, how is it possible? Medrash has an unbelievable answer. A person is going to go to shul Friday night. He's going to daven. He's going to come back home and eat. Shabbos morning, he goes to shul. He comes back home. Still has a chance to have his shulant. And then he goes outside and there's a cloud express waiting for him. Each one gets his own cloud. I think air conditioned. Doesn't say. He hops on that cloud. It takes him to Beis Hamikdash. He goes, he bows down to Kodesh Baruch Hu, he turns around, he comes back with enough time for Shabbos snap and for Shalosh Shuvas. Vehayu he'avim to'anim oisam. Avim is our clouds. Mimele bebeis Rosh Chodesh and Shabbos nismach kulanu, because we will all be there. Ani amim toivim, when there's an obligation to go to Beis Hamikdash, not everybody goes. If you don't have karka, you don't have land in Etzov, you don't go. If one is missing one leg, he doesn't go. There's many exemptions. Aliyah l'regel, not everybody goes. But on Rosh Chodesh and Shabbos, everybody will be able to go because there's going to be a cloud waiting for every person outside his house. That's why it says nismach kulanu, because everybody goes. Psikta Rabasi, Piska Aleph. Ask the Medrash, how is it possible? Hayu he'avim to'anim osam. What about what? Oh, very good. What about Tchumin? So you must say that this Medrash goes according to the opinion that above 10 Tfachim there's no Tchumin. Last thing we'll say just something for Inyan D'Yoyma. You go from the window, Mistama. You go to the second floor, open the window, it's above 10 Tfachim, you're good to go. The pasuk says, Sion b'mishpat tipade, v'shaveha b'tzedaka. At this time, these 3 weeks, tzedaka is always important, but at this time is extremely important because tzedaka brings the Geula. Bababasa daf yud gedola tzedaka shemekarevet es ha-Geula. Why? Why tzedaka more so than other mitzvahs? The Beis Levi says, today it's almost impossible to fulfill any of the mitzvahs that we have in their entirety. Tefillin is corresponding to all the mitzvahs, and yet we don't fulfill tefillin the exact way we're supposed to because we don't have tchelas. Shabbos, we keep Shabbos 39 melachos. Do you bring a korban? No. Every mitzvah has some kind of a detail that's missing. Something. The only mitzvah that's not missing anything, even today, tzedakah. There's no requirement for a certain share. A person who's a millionaire, he gives a lot. A person who doesn't have a lot, he gives a little. But once he did, that's it. There's no korban associated with the mitzvah. There's no bracha. Once you give, you did the mitzvah in a perfect way. And therefore, basically, he says, that's the only mitzvah now that we have in Galus, and it can actually fulfill 100%. And that's why it brings the Geula closer. All other mitzvahs, you're not doing it 100%. You're doing it l'shem shamayim, you're doing it all the kavanos, but some details of the mitzvahs are missing. The only mitzvah that we can do today 100% as we were instructed is the mitzvah of tzedakah. And therefore, we must try to do it, and when we do it, we bring Geula closer. Achinu kol beis Yisrael nesunim b'tzar ub'shivya. Ha'oim dimen bayam uven bayabasha. Amakom yirachem aleihem v'yotzihem mitzar u'levacha me'afil u'le'ur m'shibud Geula hashta ba'adolo b'zman kori v'noimar omein.